So welcome to the Trails Committee meeting. Tonight is Wednesday, September 16th. This is Catherine. I'll call the meeting to get at 6:34. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Chapter 30, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Southborough Trails Committee will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting may be found on the Town of Southborough's website at https://www.southboroughtown.com. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch or participate in the meeting may do so in the following manner by finding the meeting at https://www.southboroughtown.com/remote meetings. No in-person attendance of meetings of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on Southborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. So we'll do a roll call vote for who's here. Tom McCuller.
Here.
And Satyendra Sharma.
Yes.
And this is Catherine McKee. Okay, first order of business. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from July 29th and August 19th?
Yes.
Any questions or edits?
No.
Okay. Can we get a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the July 29th and the August 19th minutes as written.
Okay, and to the second?
I do the second.
Okay, great. So we'll do a roll call vote to approve the minutes. Tom McCuller,
Present.
or do you mean yes?
Oh, sorry. Yes. I was reading the.
Satyan?
Yes.
And Catherine McKee. So thank you. And also for the minutes, for the July 29th minutes, I just want to note, Sati, when we submit those, and I can send you a merged PDF file because I have the software if you don't, but we want to include the overview that we talked about during the meeting that we sent to Sam Stivers, Tim Davis, and Jamie Carr. So I'll put that package together and send it to you.
Okay.
And then again, for tonight's meeting, we'll also include some ancillary materials like the BLT connector map and things like that. Okay, so next item is the Choate Grant project status update. So very excited to share that we're 95% complete with the project. And the only outstanding item is the last Southborough Trails sign that we want to install on the 4th map kiosk that's going in at Fayville Park. We are waiting for the basketball court and the paved path to go in before they can install the kiosk. That I continually flag it, so as people remove the flags, I go back and install the flags, and it's a fun little game we play. But I'll continue to keep that section flagged until we get a kiosk. So once we have that installed, my husband agreed to help us attach it to the sign. So that should be good. And I sent a thank you. I think I sent that to the group. A thank you to the Choate Fund trustees for the funding of our project. And I sent him some finished pictures as well. John Warren, the main contact there, thanked us and shared his appreciation for the project. And so that's great. And I checked the receptacles over the weekend, and someone had actually recycled some fishing lines. So I was very excited.
Nice.
Very excited. For the record, I just want to show the picture. I know it's corny. I took a little picture. Let me share my screen first. Let me try this. Let's see, share screen. Okay, so you should be able to see it now. So that little amount of monofilament fishing line will now not go in the, it will not go in the landfill or any in the water or hurt our animals. So the next step with that is, Tom, do you want to,
Yes, I did reach out to, and I got to circle back. I dropped the ball a little bit on that.
no, that's okay. It's timely now, so it's perfect timing. You're going to reach out to an organization to see if we can, how best we can recycle it and send it in. What's the process?
Yep.
So,
Recycle payment. Yep.
yeah, so I'll hang on to that for now. And the good news is, even if we don't, I'd love to get a lot of fishing line, but one of the benefits of doing this project is raising awareness too. So our bins may not get as heavily used as we'd like them to, but they're raising awareness for people to stay alert, which is really
Do we want to put a picture of that on the website too?
yes.
Did you do that?
Not yet.
All
Yes,
right.
I will. Thank you. Thank you for, that's a good suggestion. So related to this, we have a couple of items to do. We want to assign people, like have volunteers, us check it, you know, during the heavy season, I would say spring, summer, and fall, you know, once a month at this point. So since we have 3 of us here, do you guys want to volunteer for one of them, and I'll take the third one. So which ones do you each want to volunteer to maintain?
What is that?
We're going to volunteer to maintain one of the receptacles. So there's 3 receptacles,
Yep.
3 of us. So which one do you want to be responsible for? And then we'll each pick one, and that will be the one we maintain.
So I can do the one on the Route 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Near the causeway. So that's okay. And which one do you want, Tom?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. I'll do the one on Middle Road.
Okay. And thank you. And I'll do the one on Route 85 now. So one question. So we had about $170 left, roughly 180, 179. And so I reached out to the trustees and asked if we could repurpose some of that money for signage on the BCT BLT connector. And they said, yes, use it for whatever you need. So that was really nice. So I'd like to put up some signage that just says the permitted uses for the BCT BLT connector, because it really doesn't have anything there now. And so it would really be, I'm kind of I'm tossing up like what kind of signage do we want? Do we just want a laminated piece that's attached to the pole next to Route 30, which I'll talk to you about, or do we want to do little yard signs? They won't last forever. They cost about $30. Hey, Isabel. They cost about $30. So I don't know if we want to do a little yard sign or like something by 8.5 by 11. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? And the reason I would say a yard sign is because it stands out a little bit more. It's self-standing, and I don't always have a post to put something on.
So you're thinking about putting it on Route 30 in the Framingham section of it.
Right. So we did get permission, which I'll talk a little bit about soon. We got permission to put a 3.5 by 3.5 post in the ground. So we'll put some markers on that. So if we were to use that for an 8.5 by 11, just know that it will it'll just be a little, Isabel, you'll appreciate this, Isabel. It'll be a little sloppy looking because it doesn't fit on the post. I've got an aesthetic issue. So if we did a little yard sign, it kind of, pops a little bit and reinforces the permitted uses. So do you guys have any thoughts on that?
No, that's a good idea, because it is a new trail, and maybe we're going to have new users of that since it is in Framingham.
Right.
That's a good idea.
We could put one there and on Route 30 and one at Clemens and Nichols. So 2 access points.
And do we want to prepare a third one for the Aqueduct Trail?
The Aqueduct Trail, you mean the one that splits off?
No, when eventually with the aqueduct at the end of Central Street and Route 85 there, you know, that trail that when DCR opens up.
Oh, we have bigger plans. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, bigger plans. Okay.
Yeah, we need more money. Yeah, but yes, so your short answer is absolutely, we need more. There's gonna be a bigger discussion about that soon. So
Do we need any of those small little aluminum ones that we have? Do we, I mean, we might as well use up the whole 178 at the same purchase. Do we need more of those signs?
you mean our blazes?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for just a brief moment. So the Southborough Trails Committee has a blaze, and you guys have seen it. It's the circle, and it says STC with an arrow.
Mhm.
We have that, we're using that for the Sudbury Reservoir Trail. But I have a question for the committee. Why are we using a STC blaze for a named trail? It's not named Southborough Trails Committee. It's named Sudbury Reservoir Trail. And I fear, because now we have 3 trails in one everywhere, and we're trying to brand and market these very confusing, overlapping, all the same, some different, little turn off here, a little turn off there. Do we want to reconsider our future blaze purchases? By the way, we're really low on those, so we don't have enough to blaze the world anymore. Do we want to reconsider our approach to our blazes and have them be more focused on a trail name
Mhm.
versus the branding of the committee?
I agree. I agree that and totally. But when I was saying, do we need some more? I was talking about the BCT or the BLP signs.
So I got some BCT blazes from BCT volunteers, so we're good on that. I've recently picked up Aqueduct Trail blazes, so we're good there. And I found more in a box in my car for the Burroughs Loop Trail. They've been there the whole time. I thought I was running low, and I was like, oh no, but then I discovered a little hidden spot. They were all located, and I did blaze the connector trail, so that's all set now. There might be 1 or 2 areas where I can put another BCT trail, but all of that is.
Now, this is just a general thought too. I mean, I like to use up all the money. I'm just throwing out this for ideas. The one thing I like about the trail along the aqueduct from Parkerville on, they have those mile markers. I don't know if anybody else likes those.
Yes,
That was an Eagle Scout project in 2015.
really. I
I
think
like
that's
it a lot.
great. I'm with Tom. Keep going.
No, I was gonna say, do we want to, again, if we have to use up the money, we can just, you know, make up mile marker 1, 2, or just mile marker or something like that. Cause you don't know where 0 is, or do we want to designate a starting point 0? But I do like noting how far, and I like that along the loop trail. I don't really care where 0 is. When I see 1 mile, oh, I did another mile, you know.
Yeah.
I feel the same way, Isabel. Maybe we could use up some of the miles to do the dollars, if there's anything left, to use up mile markers.
I think that's a great idea.
I think we need to, if you want to volunteer, to think about how that will work. So we have, like, for example, if you wanted to do, we still have the project that we'd like to undertake is exactly how many miles of trails are in Southborough, not just under our care and control, but in Southborough. Like, I want a number. Right now, I'm kind of using roughly 30 miles, right? But I don't know that. It's kind of an estimate. But it'd be great to finalize that. But to your point, if we were doing, for example, the Sudbury Reservoir Trail from the Marlborough border all the way to East Main, you mile mark that, right? And then maybe at the beginning, at the end, you talk about your mile markers, like you're going to see this along the trail, and this is what it means. So if you want to come up with a plan and propose it, I'm totally open to it.
Where do you start the 0?
I think that I think we have to spitball that where 0 is, and maybe there's going to be multiple 0s on the different ends.
Yeah.
As you said, in Marlboro, that could be 0 on that end of that trail.
Right.
We can call it like the Southborough mile 0.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you're in Southborough starting here.
Yeah.
And then Southborough mile 1, 2, 3. And, you know,
I like identifying it by town, and it
Yeah.
might, if then you're thinking Burroughs Loop, then you think the entire loop, where are we in the entire loop? you know, what, because there's 33 miles-ish or 30 miles, you know, whatever the number is. Where are we in that loop, right? If Ground Zero were somewhere in Marlboro because they got the big grant, you know, we could, obviously, it was, they kind of shepherd the process. So if that was Ground Zero, then kind of go from there and work that out.
What happens if we have the break in the trail, like road comes or something in between? Is it continuous Burroughs Loop? I have not traveled Burroughs Loop.
Yes, it would be continuous on the streets, I think, with the assumption that people will be, like, just say you start in Marlboro. This is just, I'm just spitballing this. So we make up a sign, you're now entering Southborough, mile marker 0 of the BLT. And then we do it all the way up to, you know, like Route 30, Central Street, and then along the aqueduct going into, you know, the point and coming back out. I think we got to measure that as if someone was actually going to walk it.
Yeah.
We can spitball it. I think we should put some ideas on paper. Maybe we'll pick a few trails and see how it would look.
I like that idea.
And think about how trails come off of it. Like if you have the one that Burroughs Loop,
Yeah,
it kind of goes this way, but Sudbury Reservoir Trail does not go that way. And then the aqueduct does go that way, but then eventually on the connector, the aqueduct goes somewhere else. That's all you, Tom. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you for volunteering. I will help you with this.
What?
Great. Thank you.
Oh, no. Yeah, so you spearhead it. I will be out there with the marker.
Okay. I guess the committee would need to make a motion that we want to use some of the funds for signage on the BCT BLT connector. So can someone?
Yes.
Okay, so Kat, I would like to make a motion that we use some of the leftover money to do mile markers on the BLT connector.
Oh, actually,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
so the mile markers would be on the, we could say on the trail system of Southborough and leave it kind of open so that you
Thank
guys figure out which one
So-
make.
So Kat, I'd like to make a recommendation that we use some of the leftover money to evaluate and put some mile markers on some of the Southborough trails.
Okay. Do I
I'll
have?
second it.
Do you want to combine that with signage on the BCT connector also? So it would be a
Yes.
revised motion to fund the mile markers, evaluate and fund the mile markers, as well as the signage for the BCT BLT connector.
Yes, the sign is for trail use for the B Burroughs Loop Trail and the Burroughs Connector Trail.
Well- Done, Tom.
You'll get there.
I had my eyes closed.
Okay, so Isabel made the motion, and can I have a second?
you already seconded it, right? Tom,
And so now we can do a roll call vote. So Tom McCoolier,
I mean, yes.
Satyendra Sharma,
yes.
and Isabel Murphy,
Yes.
and Kat McKee, yes. So thank you, that motion passes. Great. So one other question I had would be, the receptacles are roughly $40. And depending on how this what we just made a motion on comes to what tally it comes to, are we interested in doing one more receptacle on Deerfoot? And the reason I make that suggestion is because Deerfoot always has, I mean, next to Route 85, I think Deerfoot might be the second most or first, they're both very popular fishing spots. And when we posted our update on Facebook about, hey, take a look, we've done this project and stay aware, we had a comment that someone saw a goose along that area that had been entangled in some fishing line. So I thought that would be an area that we really want to raise some awareness. And there is a Sudbury Reservoir Trail sign, like a metal post that, like, similar to what we used, Tom, with the on Middle Road in Sati.
Yep.
You could use zip ties to attach it to that. So if we wanted to build one more, it's roughly $40. We have the labels, we have the adhesive already. It's, you know, just the PVC stuff. So you guys want to move forward with something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
And I don't know that we really need to vote on that since that was the initial scope of the project. Does anyone disagree?
So just to make sure, so we have $178 left over the Choate Fund, and we're going to use it for continuing making fishing receptacles, and then the trail usage, and then additional mile markers.
Yeah, so 179, if I take off 40, I've got 139. If those H wire yard signs are roughly, I'll say $35, and I take that off, then we still have another $70 that can help pay for mile markers. And then I should probably put in this maps. We have to print some maps for the 4th kiosk, which they run, it's roughly under $10 for the waterproof paper. So I also need to, well, we'll get to that, but yeah, so if that works.
Okay, that makes sense. So we'll try to spend down that money.
Yeah, great, thank you. Okay, and thanks for everyone for your support on that project. Any feedback or comments? Have you been, you know, do you ride by and smile as you?
They look fabulous.
The signs are great, good visibility.
Yes. Yeah. My one complaint is that there is that great receptacle right on the corner, you know, and then you go out to the point and there's still fishing line out there. So,
You know what, we could, as a committee, Isabel, do a cleanup. Should we pick a day, you know, in October and clean up and just go out there with and just do it ourselves so that we can, you know, help.
Yeah.
Take care of
When
it.
you say the point, do you mean Secret Island?
No, I think she's talking about East Main, between East Main and Route 30, the causeway. When
Right.
you
Yeah.
got it right there. It
Yeah.
goes on that loop.
Yep.
and I don't know that we could ever attach one of those receptacles to that major utility line, but, you know, I just want to put a sign out there going, you know, we are so lucky to have this space, please clean up.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And we should bring a trash bag and clean up some trash too. I actually, if DPW is listening, they're probably gonna be mad, but no, I have some yellow trash bags from Earth Day.
No, that's great. You're using them. That's great.
No, only for trails work, like if we need them for this. I had an extra couple, so so that would be great. Let's come up with an October date. We can schedule that. I can just, you know, circulate, or actually, Isabel, do you want to manage that and just ask us,
Certainly.
figure out a date that works for everybody, and thank you for your help.
Okay, so can I just put out some dates right now while we're on?
Yeah, let me just bring up my calendar.
So we might go past 7:30, just so you know, if that's okay today. We
All right,
just,
okay. So how about if I can send out a group email saying, let us know what dates work, right?
okay,
Yep.
that's good too.
Okay, about that.
Isabel, dates, thank you.
date and time.
Yeah, thanks for suggesting that, Isabel.
Yeah, because the only thing is we get later in the season, it'd be less and less ticks.
Good point.
You need a good frost or whatever, so.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's a very ticky trail. A lot of ticks on that trail.
And as the vegetation dies down, it's much easier to see what's left behind. You're right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
No,
how about if we say from October 1 on, sometime in October?
Okay,
Yep.
Okay,
good. Thank you, everyone.
got it.
Okie doke. So I talked about the installation of the Fayetteville kiosk, so that's all done. And Eric Hansen agreed to install the polycarbonate glass and the molding. So that's great that he's going to do that. Next item on the agenda, trails maintenance plan. So I'm going to punt this into our October conversation. It's probably going to come up. It may come up. No, it's probably not. We might need it for a CPC funding application. I'm not sure, but
Well, Cap, move back a little bit. I missed that. Can I
Oh.
introduce that again?
the trails maintenance plan.
Okay, thank you.
I was just going to put together kind of a draft. We've spent a lot of time this year getting to know and understanding what needs to happen on different sections. So we're going to take that information and put it into a plan, and then determine how best to tackle that plan, and what parties can help do that, what volunteers need to be involved, when, how much of it is the committee versus J&J Mowing versus someone else.
Okay,
So I'm going to punt that to October, right? But along the lines of trail maintenance, I did a quick survey. I did a little bit of string trimming off of Deerfoot. It was just a tiny bit. Most things looked good. Isabel, your sections, how are you feeling about off of? Did J&J come mow after that Thursday? It was after our August 19th meeting.
they came once. We've still been out there with hand equipment, so it ain't pretty, but you can pass by. But yeah, they came once.
So it just grew up fast. You mean after they came? They did do that section that they had omitted the first time.
They absolutely did the piece they missed. Yeah. But again, we need to, if we're going to be able to have it passable, we need to widen it. We need to have better maintenance to make sure that it doesn't come up.
Okay. That sounds good. So maybe we'll flag that section as a section that we need to attend to, and maybe come up with a game plan to widen it, essentially.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else on trail maintenance issues? Okay, great. I haven't checked off Ward Road to see if MWA mowed. My fingers are crossed that they did. I'll check in the next week or so.
Can that one allow dogs?
No dogs in Southborough. So.
Ah.
No,
I'm just asking if if I bring my dog, I would check it tomorrow.
oh, I'm sorry. I know. But no, unfortunately, no.
I know. That's fine. That's why you've been seeing me at Breakneck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great location for dogs at Breakneck, as long as people are picking up their food.
Yes, as long as people are responsible, dog owners, pet owners.
Yeah. Your dog is awesome, though. I met him. He's awesome. Okay, Bay Circuit Trail connector reconstruction and opening. So a lot going on here. Very excited to report that the trail is now open. Yay. I connected with Framingham Parks and Recreation Director Jim Snyder, and confirmed that Framingham is totally okay with that small side trail off of Route 30 near Thomas.
Excellent.
And we can put up a small, a 3.5 by 3.5 post set back off of they don't want it right on the road. It has to be set back off the trail. So I called DigSafe to make sure that area was okay to dig. And I have a post and cement ready to go. And we just need to install the sign. So it will have markers. It will be Bay Circuit Trail marker. It will be the Aqueduct Trail marker and the Burrs Loop Trail marker.
Oh.
Can you educate me on how big is the Aqueduct Trail now? I mean,
Ooh.
That's a good question. So how long is it? So the Aqueduct Trail, let me pull up a map. So
yeah, it'd be interesting what we consider, because that section to me, I always thought it was just the Bay Circuit Trail, but it actually is part of the Aqueduct Trail. That was just blazed off of Thomas Drive.
it is part of the Aqueduct Trail, and we can talk a little because we have another project coming up as a result of that.
So that section has 3 names.
Oh, our entire trail system has 3 names. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's very tricky.
But that's a good idea. Let's remove that Southborough Trail Committee sign, because that gets it even more confusing.
Right. So I did not put it on. Can you see my screen? You're seeing the.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So what I'm going to do,
Nice. Yeah.
Monday.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to grab the Sudbury Trail. Where is it? Okay. Okay. So the Aqueduct Trail, you see where I'm pointing? This is the Marlboro line over here.
Yeah.
That the blue line is the Aqueduct Trail. So that comes out of Marlboro along the path, and it connects where our trail veers off into the woods. Sati, you remember the Eagle Scout that did their project off of Ward
Mhm.
Road, and that this trail veers off into the woods and connects to Sudbury Valley Trustees in the over here. The blue follows the open channel all along here under 495, follows Sudbury Reservoir Trail, Burrows Loop all the way. So it follows it all the way over to, let me just try to,
No, I mean, I can see it. You don't have to blow it up more if you don't want to.
well, I can't get rid of my, hold on. Okay, there you are. Right? Isabel knows this. Okay, so then we go to Causeway. So then the Aqueduct Trail and the Burrs Loop goes across the Causeway. It's going to follow Peninsula Trail, and then it goes along Route 30 until you hit the connector, which we just.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is the connector now. This is Route 30. It comes off of here. Where's the damn?
No, I think it's further to the left where it connects, because you have to go to the causeway where it comes across.
Yeah, so the Causeway now is way on our left, right? And
Yeah.
this area is where the new trail is going to be on the peninsula.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Got it.
Keep on going. Now, jump the guardrail because everyone is agile on this trail. Jump the guardrail and you at the bridge. And this is where the connector picks up. The connector still is the 3 trails in one, and it goes along here. This green area is the Holtman Aqueduct, but we're not allowed to walk along the aqueduct. So you keep going about here. You see this Weston Aqueduct over here? This
Yeah.
green strip? Our new trail, when we work on it in 2021, we need to get it permitted, will veer off of this trail and go that way.
Really?
Yes, and it will connect to Framingham.
So they're gonna let us walk along the top?
This aqueduct, yes, not
Yeah.
the, yes.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Framingham and
Yeah.
I talked to Jim Snyder about it, and he's trying to get the section open. He's having some trouble on the other end in Framingham because an abutter is awkwardly placed where you're walking along the aqueduct and you're looking in his yard, and he has young girls and he's concerned. So they're working that out. So we did talk about, he's like, well, maybe he could focus his energy on this side. So we just need to get this area here permitted with MWRA, and there are some abutters we're going to want to reach out to here. So that's where the aqueduct trail goes.
So the Western Aqueduct, if I'm not wrong, it goes all the way to Callahan Park, State Park.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where it goes. Well, so the aqueduct trail goes all the way into Newton, and it's not a continuous path. Sometimes it's, when you look at the map, it's kind of all over the place. So they're trying to connect it best they can. But that's the idea. And so how many miles it is, I don't exactly know for Framingham. I know the Sudbury Reservoir Trail from Border to East Main is approximately 5 miles. But when you add Peninsula and you add this connector, and it's
Mhm.
not all of the connector, it's an unknown.
Mhm. Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's that. And so it was a good conversation with Framingham that we were able to connect with Parks and Rec. They reached out to conservation on their end, got everything, approved, just so that everyone's aware. Framingham has a very small sliver of land, so it's not a big involvement. And then I had the abutter notice I sent to you guys approved by Recreation in Southborough, our Southborough conservation agent. I sent it to Jim Snyder and MWRA. So everyone has seen it. We sent it out on the 4th. We've not received any feedback or concerns from abutters, which is good. I invited the abutters to be trail adopters if they wanted to. And also I gave,
Nice move. Very well done.
well, I gave them our contact information and wanted to make sure they felt like they could reach out to us if they had any concerns. But we would look to partner with them to kind of make sure their experience as well as other trail users' experience is positive, and that there aren't any main issues. And I want to point out, one of the advantages to having us maintain this trail is the trash pickup that we're able to do for this area. So along Route 30, very trashy. So I cleaned up Route 30 and I cleaned up next to the bridge. So when we do Earth Days in the future, we'll include this section because that's even though it's slightly in Framingham, it's a courtesy of we can offer the community because they
Mm.
allow us to be near their property. And it's near a waterway too, so we can do our part to kind of keep that clean.
Wow. Hey, Kat, how many abutters are there?
I sent it to 7 because where I'm going to point my cursor, there's I sent it each of the abutters like 1 Thomas Drive and 2 Thomas Drive because they're here, and then that's 2. So there was 5 properties that were close enough from to the trail that their properties abutted along here. So I wanted them aware that if they see people back there, that might be why.
And those are all Framingham. It looks like, according to the letter, those are all Framingham addresses.
Yes, that's correct. And then I think Southborough picks up again right around where the switchback happens. The switchback was in Southborough's land, so the border is somewhere in here. So it's just a small sliver of the trail that's on their property. So when we advertise, the next step in advertising, so we did a Facebook post. We got a lot of good comments. We reached about 1,300 people with the post, which is, I love those statistics.
That's 1,300? Wow.
And that comes from people sharing the post. So feel free for all of you social media gurus
Yeah.
to share the post and get that word out there if you're comfortable doing so. So we're going to advertise parking at Clemens and Nichols, which is right over here. I think most of you are familiar with that area. People are already parking there for the Bay Circuit Trail here. So we're going to not advertise on Thomas Drive, although Thomas Drive can accommodate a couple cars on the side. Plenty of space. It's a wide road, but we don't want people parking on yards and things like that. So we want to kind of just be aware of that. But so next steps in advertising would be we can ask the My Southborough if Beth wants to blog about it, and we can share a map and have her send out an announcement if she's open to that. And we can send out an e-alert on our Trails website. And I think that's the one. That's about it. Anything else on that? I think.
No, that's good. It's really good.
So thank you for everyone's help on that. From the trail walks last year to this year doing the trail reconstruction itself. So good project. Okay, so next step is the Board of Selectmen letter to DCR requesting that they prioritize the public access plan for the Peninsula Trail. This is something I have not been able to get to because of the opening of the trail and the other things. So the Board of Selectmen's having 2 meetings, one on the 22nd and one on the 6th. They've been really busy. Their last meeting was almost 5 hours. So we want to reach out to them and ask them when they can put it on their schedule, but be respectful, of course, of what they have to go, what they're trying to get done. So,
Hey, Kat, I think Sam is actually in the audience.
yeah, I did. Let's see,
I don't know if he has anything to add to that.
what is strange is when oh, there it is. Let's see if he has.
Hey, Kat, if you take off the screen share, we can see more of the whole audience.
You mean if I stop share, your visual will expand?
Yeah.
Yes. And I don't think so. Sam does not have his, actually, Melissa, I don't even know if he can raise his hand as an attendee. He should be able to.
So it's showing, it's not
Hi,
showing him
everybody.
as a participant at the moment.
No, he's an attendee.
Attendee. Yeah.
Oh, damn, you're
He's
good.
not worthy yet.
Wow. Well done, Tom.
Yeah. So I think what we need to go ahead and write that letter because it's going to help with our CPC application. So I'm going to try to get through it and see if we can, what the board needs, because they need to read the letter. They might need to react to the letter. and then redraft it. So we need to give them adequate time to process that. So I'm gonna really try hard to get it to them before the 22nd, but just understand it might slide to the 6th, and we'll just see what they want their process to be. We'll send them a draft, and then obviously it's coming from them, so they're going to want to make it their own. But I also had a thought that we should be asking the other communities involved in the Burrs Loop to also write letters to DCR, since this is a community effort, a regional trail. So I'd like to reach out to Monroe, Westboro, and Northborough, and we can share a final letter with them so they have a draft to work with, because that's easier than recreating the wheel since you're asking someone to do something. And ask all of them to write letters of support, because we're trying to close a gap. And I don't think just one town is going to do it. If we have 4 towns reach out and say, hey, this has been in the works for over 10 years, we'd love to move forward with this. Can you help? That there's a community interest in doing that. So that would be something we can do for the next time.
Yeah, Sam chatted everybody. He said, I said, you send the letter as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Of course.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. And thank you, Tom, for managing that chat. Okay, so thank you for that. We'll try that next. The Central Mass Regional Planning Commission, next item on the agenda, the interactive online regional tool. So I connected, Sudbury Valley trustees maintained the Burrs Loop interactive map. So they sent their GIS information to CMRPC. So that's all taken care of. And we were also going to have them map the town forest. So I took a walk on the 26th. We mapped the town forest, and so that will be on the interactive map as well. That project, they'll be releasing that interactive map in a couple months, this fall sometime, once they get all the other communities that they're working with updated.
Just a comment on the town forest, and this shame on me is, I always see the sign at Chestnut Hill as I've been going there lately with the dog, and there's a sign to the town forest, but
Because they let us have
wish there
dogs.
was some better signage how to get there, because I would like to extend it into that.
I know. I've always flagged that for the stewardship committee. I serve on that one as well. I'm like, well, it says to town forest, but then it doesn't tell you what direction to go to get to the town forest. And you can walk and find it, but you could walk on both sides and end up on because Woodland Road is woody. So you don't exactly know where the wood is. So we'll take care of it.
Just something to put on or maybe something to signage to connect those 2 properties. I think that'd be great.
Yeah. So, and one thing I could do is I have those arrows, those white arrows for Burrs Loop. I could temporarily post an arrow that says.
Well, let's put it so if we do it, let's just do it holistically and stuff. I know you have them and stuff. That'd be great, but I think we should take a look at extending, because I like to mix it up a little bit from Chestnut Hill. If I can go, instead of, I always do counterclockwise. If I could do clockwise and go into the forest and come back, that would be nice.
Oh, Tom, it's all about you.
Thank you. It's all about my dog, Winston.
Thank you.
No, but you bring up a good point. That's been a point of frustration for a while.
I mean, I'll spearhead that if we want, but I like just to see if we can connect those 2 properties or those 2 parcels.
That would be pretty cool.
Well, the one good news is that the map that Sudbury Valley Trustees produces does have Breakneck Hill and Town Forest represented on those on that tour. So it's helpful to connect them that way. Okay, next up is the CPC application status. So our deadline is September 30th. I've reached out to Andrew Mills, the CPC chair, to ask if we could get on to let him know that we want to submit an application. I requested an updated application and to be on an upcoming meeting. I've not heard back from him on that, but Freddie Galifsky sent me there is an old application. So we're going to use the old application until we're told differently. And hopefully any new changes won't be significant that we don't have time to respond to them in a timely manner. So we're going to use the backbones of the original application. So Arrow fencing, we need quotes on fencing. And just to recap, we were going to go for CPC funding for the Peninsula Trail. And we were going to help ask for money to help pay for fencing of the infrastructure and some historical marker signage and some other project components just to help get that going. It may not be a full funding initiative to complete, for the whole project, but at least a chunk to help move forward. And I understand this goes in front of the town meeting or the annual meeting next year and needs to be approved. So it's not guaranteed, but it's a step in the right direction. If we have application approval from the committee or the commission, then we can at least, if we're going for the DCR grant, we may be able to use that as additional funding, potential additional funding. So the timing doesn't add up right, but we do the best we can moving forward. So Arrow fencing, I've been chasing them for a couple weeks. I think they're really busy, but I was supposed to talk to them today, but Barry was not available. So I hope he and I will connect tomorrow. So what I'd like to do is just go ahead and get the quote for the fencing. Now, when we initially met in October of 2019 on that, he did indicate that, because I was concerned about projects that exceed 10,000 require a bidding process for the town. And he's like, oh yeah, it will be more than that. So I had reached out to Mark Purple in anticipation of that to understand how does that work if we know we're going to have to go out to bid with CPC funding. Do we go ahead through the process with one quote, for example, and then when if the project is approved, then we go to bid for the period of time that we need to? Is that how that works? And then are we forced to take the lowest bidder? And the reason I specifically asked that question is because Arrow fencing has a long history. They contract with MWA all the time, and they know how to work with MWA. They know the specs. They just know, and they've done all the fencing that's there already. So it would be a nice synergy for them. But there's rules and regulations for this stuff. So I just wanted to better understand that. So I have reached out to Mark for some guidance, just in case there's something that we need to be aware of in advance.
Can you write something that, the bidder must have extensive prior working relationship with MWRA in the bid process? So if they never did any jobs with them, they can't apply. I don't want to exclude anybody, but like you said, that's important.
Yeah, I like that. It is very important because of the history and good workmanship. We don't want to just have to go with, it could end up costing the project more.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, not that I'm a lawyer, but I think if we say prior experience, that's exclusive. If I say, if we put it and say we need to have references in terms of good experience, that might be a little bit different. Only as a small business owner, I know, like when I get an RFQ and it's been written and it's kind of clear what they're looking for, that's kind of discriminatory. If on the other hand, exactly to your point, what we're saying is that we want to make sure that you've got some references that you've done this kind of work, that's a little bit more inclusive.
Okay. Yeah. I'll gladly, whatever the verbiage, but yeah, we should.
No, I like that.
Put the legalese, I guess.
Yeah.
Or some creative options, right?
Yeah. So I'm totally with you, because this is a big deal for us. So we got to make sure that we've got a vendor who's going to do it right.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that we don't give the impression that we are writing the specs for a particular vendor.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Understood. See, in the private industry, we do that all the time.
We're being recorded.
Okay, thank you. So the next one is, so we had talked about including, we thought would be really important, historical markers along the trail, because we really want to highlight the history. So I reached out to the Historical Commission and asked them if they were interested in this project and working with us. What we would need them for is to help make some suggestions, perhaps on the markers, do some fact checking, do what historical commissions do. And so I haven't heard back from them. I've reached out a couple times. So I also reached out to the Historical Society. They're also the history of Southborough. So I asked them if they wanted to be involved. And I let them know that I also can, for transparency, connected with the commission. And honestly, I don't know which organization's best suited. If they both want to join us, great. I'm sure the feedback that we'll get from them will help us know what to do moving forward. But what I essentially asked in short order, without giving them a lot of details, is that we would want a letter of support if they're interested in helping us, and I would help draft that given the timeline of things, because we need it by the end of the month. So that's pending. And then I would also like to include in this project, and like to hear from you guys on this idea, is not just historical markers on this trail, but can we expand it throughout Southborough, on trails throughout Southborough? And there's the whole idea of, I don't want to overpopulate the trails with clutter and signage, but where there's historical significance in using a sign, marker, can we do that? That would be, what do you guys think?
I love that idea.
I do too. If I, like the, any place in a trail that has a signage, I always stop there and read it. I mean, it's a nice little break. Like down on Route 30 in front of the townhouse, not the townhouse, where B lives.
Yeah.
We have a nice little sign there. I would love a lot of those type of things, what Southborough was before the reservoir and the trails along it. I think that would be great. But I think we should, and I don't listen, I want to postpone it, but I think we should swing for the fence on this one, saying let's in the next year find out all the historical locations in town and go for CPA funds or something like that to make, I would love to see those bronze plaques, things in granite. I mean,
Thinking about those too, they keep coming up, the image of them.
and like it's generational. It's going to be there for the next 100+ years. Let's record our history in town now. That type of swinging.
Great idea.
Yeah, and one of the things that this could really work well with, and I don't want to overscope the project, but EDC oftentimes talks about trails downtown and linking them to the trail system. There's several key location opportunities for linking the trails, and there could be a really nice historical walk throughout town, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to kind of think about that too. But one of the challenges I've come up with, and I don't need to solve it, or we don't necessarily need to solve it tonight, is, they're putting on all these nice sidewalks and all these things. Where do these markers go if there's established sidewalks that no one's going to be ripping up and putting things, where do these markers go if it's kind of a walk through town? Are they existing signs?
You know what, let's deal with that part later, because that's talking about, the town sidewalks. I think, our scope is the trails that we've got some control over.
Right, but I'd like to, if it's possible, and like even down Lotta Squama, right? That's one of the roads that you would get to, that you would use to get to a trail. Right, so, and then the other one is Middle Road, right? You could walk down there, and then you have Route 5. Those 3 points, you can walk from downtown to a trail on each of those roads. So how could we incorporate the, markers into kind of starting that process or adding?
Yeah, I think we should worry about implementation after we have the big plan into it, like Isabel was saying. Yeah, I know they don't want to cut into the sidewalks and stuff, but once and I know you reached out to the historical commission and stuff, I think that's really where we need a lot of help from them. Here's our trail system. We want to put in some historical things, pre-reservoir, reservoir, all that stuff. And where is these points that have a historical significance?
Yeah.
And then, I don't want to say worry about it later, but let's worry about it a little bit later.
Yeah.
And here, in this point right here, this section right here, I don't even know where that section point is. From here, you can connect to this trail. Middle Road has been established since 1801 or whatever it was. And we can have like a sign right there. And, this trail goes off to here, and it's almost like an informational thing. But I think we need the historical commission to help us identify those points of interest.
That's exactly what I was thinking they could help us do, and make some wise suggestions.
So did you, do you want to, and I'm just saying you, but all of us, do we want to somehow get on their next meeting agenda and discuss them?
I asked the historical commission, who as of their last meeting said they were going to meet on the 22nd. So I did ask if we could go to the 22nd. Now, I did not see that they're scheduled a Zoom meeting just yet, so that may have changed. But if we can go, then I will, if you guys want to pencil that in just temporarily. I don't exactly know what time of the day they meet, but we can try to attend that meeting.
That'd be great.
So between now and then, I'm going to be scrambling to put some things together for the application anyway. We have already voted as a committee to put an application in, so we don't need to vote again.
Right.
But I will be sending drafts to you as a committee for you to look at, review, and get back to me. Please respond openly to me so we don't break open meeting law.
Yes, do you need some help next week doing that?
I will need some help. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I will be reaching out. Thank you. For
Okay.
that. And if you guys could, please, comment and feedback and share your ideas so that we can really make this a good project. But I think the historical marker piece will be really important component of it kind of makes it we're building a trail, but we're also trying to build and preserve.
Community, yeah, a whole community connectionness.
No, that was good, Tom. Yeah.
Connectionness.
So in addition to that, DCR, I think we're going to need a letter of support from DCR on this as well, because we're asking, so right now the land's not open to public access. That may be a roadblock for funding. Like, people may be hesitant to provide funding for an area that's not quite open to the public. But if DCR could provide a letter of support that they're in support of this trail, although it's not prioritized yet, then, but do you see the slight twist of conflict? We're asking the Board of Selectmen to write a letter of support to DCR to help us prioritize the trail, and then we're asking DCR to write us a letter. So you see, I don't know how that's going to work. So I do think DCR needs, because part of the CPC application requirement is, do you have permission to do what you're proposing on the landowner, on the person, with the organization that owns the land. So that's where we need DCRs to say yes. Otherwise, we will be at a roadblock. And the same thing with MWA. So I would be reaching out to both organizations with some sort of draft that, that they can edit up and see if they will support, because they have, both organizations have provided, their verbal and written support of the project. So it's not
So we have their written approval, right?
Well, written approval as in communications back and forth about moving forward with the trail. We don't have a permit. We don't have an 8M permit for MWA, and we don't have an agreement with DCR yet. But both organizations have been involved in very favorable, I should clarify, about moving forward with the project. There have been no roadblocks that we've reached that someone said, this isn't going to happen, we're not interested. Everybody, all the organizations are on board with moving forward. It's just we're moving at a snail's pace.
So do we need to just send out something like to Scannell saying, we are applying for this, just sign here saying, yes, you are in approval?
Yes, we want to make it as easy as possible, to your point. And it's going to be Jamie Carr.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, that's essentially something like that. So we'll try to get to yes in an easy way. So we want to be careful about the wording that we use. So that's another thing that I'll probably need your help drafting and making sure the tone of the letter is proper and that we're approaching it the right way. So,
Okay.
And then the next question is the Board of Selectmen. So I think if they're writing a letter of support, and you see how the two now converge into whether we get the Board of Selectmen on the 22nd or the 6th. If we got them to approve the letter on the 22nd, which might not be likely at this point, then we could use that letter kind of because they've already reviewed and they support the project in that way. If not, then the question is, do we need to do anything with the Board of Selectmen before we go to CPC? I don't know. I feel like we're going to go through a few versions of the negotiations with CPC and they're gonna say, oh, we need these 5 things from you. So that could be one of those 5 things. So
Mhm.
even if we don't have a perfect package, we're gonna have a really robust package. And then we'll come back with version number 2 with new and improved, from people.
Yes, with committee approvals, committee recommendations. Yep. Yep.
So that will probably help. So then the next question is funding. So part of the application says, what other funding do you have? Whatever, volunteer hours, in-kind support, that kind of stuff. So my question to the committee is, we can't go to businesses and ask for money. We can't really ask for money, period. So are there any organizations within town that we could, approach? Like I was thinking, I don't know if this falls under Rotary's objective, their mission, but would Rotary be interested in, supporting us next year with a small donation? Something like that we could count towards the project. Is it worth an ask? Are there other?
I think it's definitely worth an ask. Definitely worth an ask.
Okay.
Because I know they give money for different things, the Rotary Club.
So we could do that. Any other organizations come to mind? And then
Now, I'm just going to throw it out there. The it's Economic Development Committee, EDC,
I was thinking too. Go ahead.
they do always have grants and they have some monies and they do some funds. Would they be willing to contribute something?
Especially if this is we're talking about trying to connect it to the downtown.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's right up there. It should be right up there, their own agenda.
All right, I like it. Yep. So if anything else comes to mind.
Let me think about that. Who else in town or donations?
I wish there was a way, that we could approach larger businesses and or private schools in the area to say, would you contribute to a project like this? I don't know. I know that you can't do that, but I don't know what you can. There has to be a way.
My wife's company, they do like they can send the volunteers as well as they can send the money. I mean, both donations as well as the volunteers.
Yeah. So they donate to causes like this, but we
Right.
can't ask them is the problem, right? So
Oh, okay.
suggestions was, for example, recreation, they have Friends of Recreation. So the Friends of Recreation can ask organizations to donate on behalf of recreation, for example, but recreation can't go off and ask because there's conflict of interest. So maybe something new and creative will come up that we are allowed to do out of this initiative. So if anything comes to mind, or if anyone thinks of something, just let us know.
All right.
Great. And then any other local grants? We did miss an opportunity. I was on it wouldn't have worked. 9/11. So there was a deadline for the Southborough Open Fund. Wait, it's not, I'm confusing too. It's Southborough Community Fund. That's what it is. They offer small grants and they had a deadline of September 11th. And we were gonna meet on the 10th and I was gonna propose, is it possible that we could pull together an application, a proposal in a day? But we didn't meet, and so we missed that opportunity. I don't know that it would have been possible. I had a couple long work days those 2 days anyway. So, but are there other grants that we could be, land grants, in the area that we could be focused on as like some additional funding or something? We can do a quick search and see if anything pops up. It won't be something we'll get before the 30th, but if we're in the process of, if we have some real leads, then maybe we can include that as real leads, even if we don't have something tangible yet.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
All right, so if anything comes up, so again, the application deadline is the 30th, so I will be, we'll be working in the next couple weeks to knock that out. So we do need a few organizations to move quickly if they're going to support us for the letters of support, but we'll see how it goes. Next on the agenda, 5-year plan. Let's punt that until October. And then the website updates. So the website has been updated with all of our projects for 2020 and the new trail opening and stuff. I need to revise the trail map for the BTT connector loop, because I'd like to put at the bottom of it some trail uses like no dogs, no motorized vehicles, no bikes, to further support DCR's request that we continue to share that message. Yeah, so we'll do that. And the resource page, Sati had some great ideas last time. And so we can just work in the next months to continue to add important resources up there that, you know, trail maintenance stuff and best practices and things that we've talked about adding up there. But that's going to have to fall to a lower priority given all the other stuff that we're doing. Last and final thing, hunting season is here, coming up in October. So I'm going to show you a map. DCR reached out and just let us know that October 5th, Monday, October 5th is opening archery season. And as you know, last year they opened up the Peninsula Trail because they're trying to control deer population. So they've asked us if we want to start sharing with the community through our options, the way we publicize through Facebook and website. We can do that and put some signage on our kiosks. So what I thought is, if I have to print maps anyway for the 4th kiosk, I could print some hunting notices for the kiosks also. What I'm going to do is try to make them timeless so that we can reuse them year after year.
Yep.
Also, I'm not interested in opening up the kiosk and putting them inside there, because that's going to be 2 openings times 3, and no, it's too much.
No.
So
Yeah, somehow we can tack it or
get something nice on the bottom. It will be blaze orange, so it will be really, you know, it'll be.
That's a good idea. Good idea.
And this won't take very long, but I do want to share the screen so that you can see. Hang on. I always have a problem with understanding where I am.
We can see it from your glare from your glasses. Don't worry.
Oh. Yeah, that's a problem.
That was bad.
I haven't solved that issue yet. Okay, so here is the map blown up, the hunting map.
The hunting map?
Pardon?
The hunting map?
Yeah, so this is the map of all the areas where hunting is allowed.
By St. Mark's Golf Course?
This is so hang on. I was concerned. No. I was I was concerned too, but so I reached out to DCR to confirm. I was like, okay, so all of these, this is all along trails, right? And
wait, Kat, give me the legend. What do these different colors represent?
green is hunting, red is not. Okay, but the cross hatch, that's the lines here, have
You can hunt on the land bridge?
these cross hatches have a 500-foot setback from residential, where you can't fire arms or hunt anything. What did he call it? You can't
Discharge your firearm.
charge a weapon in these areas. So no, there's going to be no hunting here, right? Because all of this is cross hatched. That was my concern too, because I was like, no, these are our trails and you can't. I don't even know what the message would be. Just don't go on the trails. But no, so that means that this is going to be okay. They're not going to be hunting on these trails. So don't worry, but we do need to share the message with this map and be really clear. That's why I asked for clarification, because I don't know what the setback meant or how it worked here. And from a layperson's.
So in all seriousness, we are saying that the area that we talked about where people are fishing, that the point, that is clear for hunting right now.
Yes, correct.
Yep.
Okay.
But I'll be really honest with you. The likelihood of someone going on this little area looking for deer is probably unlikely. That wouldn't even be fun for anyone. Like all of that is open. right?
Mm.
Like, I really think,
There is deer there. I have seen them. I have heard.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, there is deer.
And keep in mind, realistically, we were basically across the street on the other land bridge when we saw the hunters, when we did that walk.
yes, over here. So this is the attraction. This is where people want to go, and this is where they can go. And, you know, because it's approved now. So they can go here, and this is safe. I do want to point out one thing that's very interesting and will help us open this trail. You know how there's a DCR gate? This is the end of Central Street
Yep.
Causeway, and there's a gate there, an access
Yep.
gate. And this
Yep.
is where we wanted to put some parking, because
Yep.
this is the only location. Look what they put there. Do you see that?
Parking.
See that, Pete? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, is that for us or is that for the hunters?
It's for the hunters. But guess what? It's one day going to be for us, and it's approved by DCR already. So it just works to our advantage that the likelihood of putting some parking there is going to be high, right? Because they already allow hunters to go there and park. And if you remember last year, I mean, I was surprised at how many smart parking cars got in there. There was like maybe
Mm.
4 to 6 cars got in there.
Oh, okay, so I gotta call you on something. I don't know if you can you see my cursor right now?
No.
No.
Okay, so along the St. Mark's Golf Course, thank you, Kat. Yeah, keep going right there.
Does
You're
that mean people can hunt here?
Yeah,
Yep.
But where
Hood is very small.
is that? And
Well,
that's not hatched. That's not cross hatched because of the golf course, I guess.
right.
Right? There's not residents there.
But that is part of our trail. I mean, that is, yeah, think about it. That is like, so, you know, when you talk about Secret Island, it's right off of, I mean, look at where you're talking about.
Island, no, Secret Island, I consider Secret Island off of by your neighborhood there.
It's right
Okay.
here, right? Rock
And,
Island.
and then keep
Yeah.
looking at the land bridge there, right? You're talking about right between right before 85.
Yeah, is this
That's
80?
85.
Yeah, maybe I should ask a little bit more about that one. Because that just seems strange.
You see your 3 Ps? Where's the bottom one? Right there. Where? No.
Oh.
That one.
Exactly. This is on White Bagley, which is really strange. They put a P here because there's a small area off of White Bagley. There's a DCR access gate. You're technically not supposed to park on White Bagley from Route 9 to Route 30.
Yeah.
Bylaw in Framingham, I mean, in Southborough, that you're not allowed to park there. However, if you're parked off of the road, like close enough into their access point, I think that's what they mean here. So I thought that was interesting too. We're not going to promote that as a parking because of what I just said, but
Yeah. Great.
so, but just for context, I mean, this is Fayetteville, or let's see, this is, where's Fayetteville Park? Sati, it's got to be, Fayetteville Park is right here.
Yes.
Somewhere. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right around there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
'cause Sati, you live right around here, right?
Yep.
Make sure you wear orange.
That's exactly where I was going.
But technically you can't
Yes, I
discharge
know.
within 500 feet. So it's pretty safe-ish.
That's going to make me feel much better when I'm running tomorrow, right along that part of the golf course.
So will it be?
This is why I don't run. This is exactly why I don't run.
Thank you, Tom. That explains it.
Is that it is the bow arrow hunting or?
Well, bow
It
hunt,
is.
did you ask? I'm sorry, Sati, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's
Bow hunting.
Yeah, so it's a bow hunting, archery season starts on the 5th, and then firearms start on November 30th.
Oh, okay.
Ends through December 30th.
So
I don't
let me make
have-
sure I'm understanding that. You're telling me that firearms can be discharged along that part of our trail from coming from Route 9 or White Bagley Road to Route 85.
I am going to contact DCR again and double check that that's their intention, because I share your concerns. if that's the case, then I feel like our signage needs to say that because it needs to be really clear.
Like
That-
with
that Weapon
Right.
charged.
Yeah.
I don't want to alarm anyone because again, the likelihood of someone hunting along there is unlikely. I can't,
Yeah, agreed.
we can't predict what people will do. And if it's allowed, it's allowed and people need to know that. So I'm going to reach out again and just double check that because I'm pretty sure that the reason it's not cross hatched is because of the 500-foot setback from residents. So if there's no one living on the golf course, then that would be why that they did that.
or,
Did you say 4?
yes,
Ooh,
okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
gotcha.
Okay, so that is that's all I got today. Does anyone have anything else? Oh, we've got some chat. Sam here. I'd suggest that you send a letter. Oh, hi Sam. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
you. We're good. Okay, any comment from the public? Okay, seeing no hands raised or I will should we schedule our next meeting?
Yes, let's schedule the
Yes.
next meeting.
And thanks for letting us, thanks for being flexible and going over a little tonight. We have a lot going on. So, we may have, so I will keep you posted on the CPC meeting if there's one in October. I'm assuming if there's applications coming in that they'll have to meet in October. So we may, if our meeting, for example, conflicts with that date, we'll have to be flexible, but for now. Oh, and Heritage Day. Has anyone heard, is Heritage Day not allowed to happen?
Wow, is it gonna be virtual?
Virtual. Actually, Sam is still on. If you're listening, Sam, have you heard any updates on that?
Sam, you there? It says he's still here.
I meant to reach out to Tim Davis to see, I think that based on the rules that I just read for outdoor events, you can't have more than 12 people.
So they should be canceling it.
So I'm going to work on the assumption they're canceling it, and I will reach out to Tim Davis and just confirm because that we normally participate in. It's okay that we're not this year just because we have so much going on with the application and things like that we'll probably be working, but it is such a great option to get in touch with people and we're opening a new trail, so that's too bad. So having said that, what week can we look at? The week of the Heritage Day week, the Columbus week, like the 14th maybe?
14th works good for me.
That's,
Should we
14th.
Sorry, yep. So I am here any evening, I'm here.
okay, so evenings are going to work better because you're now training again. Can everyone do 6:30 on the 14th?
Sure.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll pencil that in with a tentative that we may need to move it if CPC ends up on that date or whatever. So thank you, everyone. And so I'll call the meeting at 7:52. And can I get a motion to adjourn? Whew.
Sorry, go ahead.
I second it.
Who
Okay.
motioned? Is that you, Tom?
Tom set the motion, Isabel second.
Thank you. And do roll call. So Tom McCoolier,
Yes.
Tatiandra Sharma,
Yes.
Isabel Murphy,
Yes.
and Kathy agree. So we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. And Sati, I'll put those packages together for PDFs and send them your
Okay.
way.
Okay. Thanks.
Did you see? Oh, okay.
That's okay. The recording has stopped, but